You know, it's not just that it's so affecting. I just think it's essential to listen to black voices right now.
Perception, deception, and the masses are asses. I am the Wiz. Alright guys, well this next review that I'm doing right now is for the 2023 film American Fiction, directed by Jefferson and starring Jeffrey Wright. When I first heard about American Fiction, I was immediately intrigued and I wanted to see it. And I waited pretty long to see it because I think I just got this on Blu-ray about a month ago. So I was really looking forward to watching this, and I'm taking this week to do it. And I gotta tell you, I loved this film. So let me get right into it. American Fiction reminded me of one film, and it's a weird one, so bear with me as I explain this. American Fiction reminded me of Her. Her has become one of my favorite movies of all time. You're probably asking yourself, wait, Wiz, why is American Fiction reminding you about a movie about a guy who falls in love with an AI? That's weird. Let me explain. I loved Her for one very specific reason, and it was because it not only did the one thing that the film was set out to do right, and did it very well, it also went a step further and did that step right, and then did another step further than that, and did that right, and did another step again, and did that right. It not only did what it was supposed to do well, but it subverted my expectations by going several steps forward and doing that all well, and making it one of my all-time favorite movies. And I'm not sure if American Fiction will be one of my all-time favorites. It may very well be, but what you're expecting out of American Fiction, it not only does that well, but it does other things as well on top of that. American Fiction, if you don't know, it's about a African-American writer played by Jeffrey Wright, who is getting fed up with the fact that his books are not selling very well, and he's having some personal problems as well. And he decides, out of a whim, to make a joke of a book that's very stereotypically black, that a lot of white people like to read and enjoy and think that are very moving. But he does it in a very condescending way, only to realize it becomes a huge hit, and people love it. The comedy that revolves around that is excellent. I gotta be honest, I have not laughed so hard when I was watching this movie. It was so funny. It not only dealt with just the ludicrousness of what's going on, but of how the main character deals with the situation and deals with the fact that when he puts in so much effort into something to be more intellectually stimulating and interesting, it doesn't work. And when he makes slop, essentially, it becomes beloved. And it becomes very frustrating for him to deal with that, but it's done in such a comedic way, and it's done incredibly well. Honestly, if that was all the film was about, I think this would have been a very good film. But it goes a step further, because it's also an effective family drama. This is also pretty effective. It's not only funny, but it also deals with certain things when it comes to the perception of his father and how, and his mother and father's relationship, and the relationship he has with his brother and sister. But it not only does the drama with the family well, but it also does an effective job as a character study. The main character is a guy that is really not doing very well personally, and also he's not a nice guy. He's not only frustrated, but he seems also very unsatisfied with his life in a number of aspects, and he doesn't take being around people very well on top of that. And it's a film that gives this portrayal of this character that is very deep and well-meaning, but it doesn't make him a likable hero. It doesn't make him a horrible person, but it makes him a very complex person that you want to get to know, and it's really interesting how they go on that route with him. But American Fiction does another thing really well, and that is talk about the creative process and the frustration that some would have where the things that they would want to write about and be creative for doesn't get a response, but if they cater to a specific audience, that works really well, and how that can feel unsatisfying. And that's a tough thing to talk about in any kind of medium, but I think American Fiction does it very well, not only showing how frustrated the main character is, but it also is dealt with in another character as well in the film, and it's done fairly well. I guess if there's one issue I can really come up with, is that the ending is not as good as the rest of the film. I'm a person that doesn't mind ambiguous endings. In fact, if the film warrants it, I think a film will be better off having an ambiguous ending, because it would make people think about the film in a different light, or what they feel like the film was about. And I think that's instantly more gratifying than spoon-feeding an ending. American Fiction doesn't do that, but it also doesn't leave a lot for someone like me who would want to think more deeply as to what happened and what's going on and what the film is about. It's pretty much wrapped up pretty well towards the end of the film. You would have to really come up with a few things that makes it a little more ambiguous or makes it a little more of a thoughtful movie in that when it comes to the ending. I mean, the movie is very thoughtful, but I think the ending kind of, again, just wraps things up in a way that I just wasn't really into, I guess is the way I would put it. But it doesn't feel like a cop-out. It just feels like a decision that was made that I wasn't really all that responsive with. So that's really like the one thing that I had an issue with. But man, I gotta say, if you really want a really funny but smart comedy that does more than the comedy and it has all this effective stuff in it as well, American Fiction is a fantastic movie. I really enjoyed this. And I gotta be honest, and I will probably be wrong when I say this, but I will be very surprised if something beats this at the end of the year as my favorite film that I have watched this year. This was a really good film. If you have not seen it yet, give it a shot. I think you might really enjoy it. Well, I think we already know what I think, but what does everyone else think? Letterboxd users have this as a 3.7 out of 5. Wow, that is surprisingly low. Rotten Tomatoes has this at a 93% fresh. Yeah, I am kind of with the critics on this one. And for Oscars, it was nominated for 5, and it won 1. That was Best Adapted Screenplay for Cord Jefferson. I am giving this a 4.5 out of 5. I think this was an excellent film, and like I mentioned, it's not only an effective comedy and an effective farce, it's also really good in the dramatic stuff when it comes to the family and with the main character's personal life, but it also talks about other things, about the creative process and how unsatisfying that can be for some people who can actually do those things. As a multifaceted film that has so many other meanings to it, I think it's an excellent film. I had a small issue with the ending, but I think that will grow on me in time. An excellent movie. I believe this is on Amazon Prime if you have not seen it, but I would highly recommend you check it out. All right, guys, thank you for watching. See you guys next time. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please like it. If you didn't, please subscribe. And if you have questions or comments, go ahead and leave a comment whether you liked it or not. It just helps, you know. If you want my written reviews, you can go onto my Letterboxd at IamThatWiz, or you can go to my website at IamTheWiz.com. Thank you very much again for watching. See you next time.